darkness. Once there was a family of ogres that lived in a cave in the forest. There was Mr. Smacklips, Mrs. Smacklips, and little Johnny Smacklips, their son. Wow, it's so yummy! They were friendly ogres, but they did not have very good manners. One night at dinner, they all rushed to the table as usual. "Oh boy," said Johnny. "Roast beef, my favorite." And he reached across the table to grab some roast with his hands, which were still dirty from playing in the forest. "Roast beef, I like it." "That's it, son," said Mr. Smacklips. "Dig in." His mouth was full of potatoes, and little bits flew across the table when he spoke. "Dig in." Mrs. Smacklips just smiled, chewing noisily with her mouth open so you could see everything inside. And so they chomped, smacked their lips, and spilled things until all the food was gone. It was a messy dinner indeed. Then Johnny said, "The king of the forest is having a feast next week. Everyone has been invited but us. How come we aren't invited, Mommy?" Mrs. Smacklips picked her teeth with a fork and said, "I have no idea. Mr. Smacklips, you go see Mrs. Fox and ask her why we are not invited." "Why aren't we invited to the king's feast?" "I don't know why. Mr. Smacklips, you should go to Mrs. Fox's house and ask her." "Okay, will do." So Mr. Smacklips burped a big burp, got up from the table, and went to see Mrs. Fox. At Fox's house, Mr. Smacklips said, "Everyone has been invited to the feast, but my family has not been invited. Do you know why, Mrs. Fox?" "Well," replied Fox, "I'm afraid you are not invited because your family and you do not have good table manners." "Why is everyone invited to the feast but my family?" "Well, I am sorry for that, but your family has to have good table manners to be invited." "Table what?" asked Mr. Smacklips. "Manners," repeated Fox. "Good manners when eating. Don't worry, I will come to your house for dinner tomorrow night and teach you. Then maybe you will be invited to the feast." "Okay," said Mr. Smacklips, unsure. Then he went home to tell his family. "Table what?" "Table manners. I will come and teach you tomorrow night." "Okay, thank you." The next evening, Fox went to dinner at the ogre's house. As usual, they all rushed to the table to eat. "Wait a moment," said Fox. "Please, everyone show me your hands." All three ogres held up their hands. They were all very dirty. "Show me your hands first." "Before you sit down, you all need to wash your hands," said Fox. "You all must have clean hands before you eat, like mine." The ogres looked at Fox's hands, which were shiny and clean. They all washed their hands until they were clean too. Then they all sat down at the table. "You all must wash your hands before meals. Look at my hands." Johnny reached across Fox's plate to grab some corn. "Wait," said Fox. "Do not reach for the corn. That's bad manners. Say, 'Please, pass me the corn.'" "Please, pass me the corn," said Johnny politely, and Fox passed the corn to him. "Huh? Johnny, you have to say, 'Please pass me the corn.'" "Okay, Mrs. Fox, please pass me the corn." When everyone had food on their plates, they began to eat. Mrs. Smacklips chewed her food noisily, her mouth open as usual. "Excuse me, Mrs. Smacklips," said Fox, "but you should eat with your mouth closed and not make a noise." "Oh, I see," said Mrs. Smacklips, and she closed her mouth while chewing. It was much nicer that way. "No, Mrs. Smacklips, you should not eat like that. It makes too much noises." "Oh, I see." "That's it, dear," said Mr. Smacklips proudly. His mouth was full of corn, and it sprayed across the table. "Don't talk with your mouth full, please," said Fox. "Swallow your food first, and then speak." Mr. Smacklips swallowed his food and said, "Thank you, Mrs. Fox. I won't talk with my mouth full any more." "Mr. Smacklips, don't talk with your mouth full. It is not clean." "Oh, I see. Thank you." And so they had a very pleasant dinner, and there was no mess on the table. "Well done," said Fox. "You all have good table manners now, and I have something for you. The King of the Forest sends this invitation for your family to join the feast." "All done. Your family has good manners now, and here is your invitation to the feast." "Thank you so much." The ogres jumped for joy, and a week later, they enjoyed the feast with everyone. The king said they had the best manners of all.